I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of our community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that might affect the students, staff, faculty, and the community of Show Low. And continue to remind us that all we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for your greater good and for the service of the Show Low community. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Item 2.2. Oh, sorry, we better, yeah, I apologize. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move we approve the agenda.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Now 2.2, recognition of legendary staff members. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, I'd invite the board to go around front, and we will invite Mrs. Jaramillo to come up with her legendary staff from Whipple Ranch.
Good evening, members of the board and Mr. Housley. I would like to present Monica Lopez to you. Monica, when I first met Monica, she's very quiet. And the more I got to know her, this is what I think of Monica. When you think of that definition of integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, that's Monica. She is one of these people that quietly goes through the day, every day. She does what's right for kids. She does the right thing in the school. And she's a pleasure to be around. You know, the quietness isn't, I think it's a power she has, kind of like a strength she has. I asked her team members, they said, man, a team player, they called her a quiet giant. I asked some children what they thought about her, and one of her children said, she's a good teacher. She teaches us a lot, and I'm learning English from her. And one of her other little boys told me, she gives me Skittles, and she knows I don't like to draw. I don't like to play at recess. I like to draw comics, so she always brings me paper. And I asked a little girl that she doesn't like it when there's a sub in the class. And so I asked her, well, where do you want to go? You know, if your teacher's gone, I want to be with Miss Lopez. So I asked her today, why do you want to be with Miss Lopez? And she said, well, she was my cousin's teacher, and she was always nice to me then, and she's always nice to me now. So she's amazing. I asked one of our substitutes that's on our campus like all the time, I should probably have a box for her. I said, tell me about Monica. She said she is comfortable with any task you give her. She doesn't rattle easily. She just moves along in her day and takes care of business, and she's a comfortable person to be with. She's on our intervention team. And she's done that for the 2 years that I've been there. She knows kids, she knows what they need, and she's a great member of that team as we come up with plans for kids. And I've just loved working with her. So this is our Monica Lopez.
Mr. Hall, you'll come next, please. Everyone's got to smile big.
One, two, three. Ready? Oh, I'm sorry, Randy Verga. Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
I appreciate the opportunity we have to recognize great members of our staff. Tonight, on behalf of Nicholas Homestead, I would like to recognize two of our support staff members, Mr. Tyler Yeager and Mrs. Pam Davis. So I'll speak first about Tyler. Tyler is a 2016 Shiloh High School graduate, so we're grateful that he's chosen to stick around and help us out. He's been with Nicholas Homestead for the past 2 years. Tyler has some unique skills that make him a terrific teacher's aide. He's very teachable. He accepts counsel and advice, and he's always willing to better himself and grow. So I think that's a tremendous attribute. He has the ability to see what needs to be done, and he goes to accomplish by taking initiative to get it done without being told. He's very dependable. He loves children, and the children at our school love him. Tyler shared with me that while working at Nicholas Homestead, it's given him the opportunity to learn and grow. And because of this job and all the people that he works with, it's helped him make a decision that he would like to pursue a career in education. So I applaud him for that. So Tyler plans on getting his bachelor's degree at NAU, and his dream is to come back and teach elementary education in 4th or 5th grade. Those are my favorite grades too. Tyler's a great sport. He's a great team player. He'll dress up as anything we ask him to be. Recently we had an assembly where a pizza factory came and donated a buddy bench to our school, and he dressed up as a slice of pizza. So the kids loved him. They thought he was a rock star. Tyler has a bright future in education in front of him. I love and appreciate his service that he gives to our staff and to our children. And please join with me in recognizing him as a legendary staff member. Now to Mrs. Davis. Pam has been working at Nicholas Homestead for the past 3 years. We're grateful to have her join us. Pam has had many years of experience working with children. Her careers include child daycare, preschool, outdoor education, and over 20 years in public education. Pam loves working as a parapro. Her love for children, especially children with learning disabilities, is very evident. She has a real gift for seeing what a child needs, and she goes about her own quiet way in assisting them. Oftentimes I've witnessed her educating herself so that she might become more able to help the students that she works with. Her love and patience towards children is a role model for every one of us at Nicholas Homestead. Pam has shared with me that it's a pleasure for her to see children succeeding. I would say overcome seemingly insurmountable limitations. She has faith and confidence that every one of them will succeed and be great. I love her attitude, her faith, and the commitment. Please join with me in saying thank you to her and being a legendary staff member.
the way. Hang on. There we go. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Dr. Dorset?
Good evening, Mr. Housley and board members. I welcomed Mrs. Teresa Keim up as our legendary staff member for this month. She's an amazing master science teacher. Like, I'm gonna brag on you because I admire you a lot. So her instructional design is on point all the time. But not only that, but you walk into her classroom, there's kids playing with shaving cream on the table, but it's not just playing with shaving cream, they're balancing electrons and valences. She does a pizza box periodic table that's in the back of her room. She does guest speakers and all this amazing stuff in her classroom all the time, and quietly, and all about the kids, kind of like Susie's legendary staff. She's that quiet leader that works behind the scene to do what's best for kids all the time. So she's amazing in that way. She's always cool, calm, and collected with the kids, great relationship with them. They all love Mrs. Keim's class. And she's incredibly dependable and part of our leadership team as well. So she's an amazing person. So now I'm gonna brag a little bit more and what your colleagues say, because I like to do this part. So one said, Teresa's an amazing teacher. I've witnessed her taking students that say they hate science to loving it because it makes sense and she teaches them to enjoy it. She's great to collaborate with and loves teaching. As you get to know her, you realize how great she is and how she has a great sense of humor. I'm very grateful to work with her. Another says, Teresa's a very helpful, no-nonsense coworker. I appreciate her support and approach in so many areas. She has a fantastic sense of humor and a straightforward approach to learning and figuring out problems. I find her doing things in class all the time that supports language arts, reading and writing, and really appreciate that from her as well. Another says that she's an amazing staff member. That seems to be a trim. Her quiet calms keeps students attentive, and this person's never seen a class out of control, and they always seem deeply engaged, and I echo that. She's an incredible teacher. And then another says that she does a great job reporting to the science team and is also what's transpired in our leadership team meetings, and she's consistent when organizing our team meetings. And she's very supportive of trying new ideas to teach our science curriculum. So as you can tell, she's well loved by students and staff. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate you so much. Item 2.3, call to the audience. Nothing? Okay. Moving to 2.4, superintendent reports to include comments on extracurricular activities, curriculum, and current events.
Well, Mr. President, we have extracurricular right back there in the back, and we're going to invite Mrs. Goodman and Mrs. Lopman. If they would like to come up and kind of share the accomplishments of our FBLA group. Or Mr. Nicholas, or one of you, I don't know who is going to. Come on up.
Good evening, school board and members of the Show Low School District, and those of you that are watching on TV today. We're very thankful that you guys invited us to come to this meeting. My name is Mrs. Goodman, and I'm a business teacher and the FBLA advisor at Show Low High School. And with me, I have some of the members of my 2017-2018 officer team. It consists of 15 members, and the members I have here that were able to come tonight, because some of them are off playing softball, playing baseball, doing other activities and stuff that teenagers do. So I would like to introduce Rosie Burr. She's our president of FBLA this year. Sloan Tipton, Danielle Quintana, Kellyanna Baldwin, Kelsey Kerr, Maddie Butler, and Julian Hernandez, who were able to make it here tonight, and I appreciate them coming. At the high school, we currently have about 95 members on our FBLA team, which is good, and these kids come every day and they learn business skills. They're able to do impromptu speaking. They are a better speaker than I am. They learn all kinds of things. They are able to come and earn a certificate of proficiency from MPC. They also do community service. They compete, and they do tons of other activities that high school kids do as well. A lot of these kids are the brightest students that we have at Show Low High School. They do NHS, they're in student council, they do sports, they work. Again, they're very busy students, but they were kind enough this year to be on a part of this officer team. I think that they are awesome, they're amazing, and they are the best students that we have at Show Low High School. They compete, and when they compete, they represent not only Show Low High School at the regional level, the state level, but also at the national level. And we just went to regionals in February, and we're gearing up, getting ready to go to state competition. And when I asked them if they wanted to speak, my president was more than happy, and she said she would be happy to share with you their results from the regional competition that we just went to. So I'd like to turn some time over to Rosalia Burr.
Thank you so much giving me that little introduction. So like she said, we went down to EAC back in the beginning of February to compete in regional competition with over 100 kids there. And so I'm just going to read off the kids that won. They do first through third place at regionals. So we have Kaya Westbrook, second place agribusiness. She also took third place banking and finance, and also third place in introduction to business. Annabelle Luchega, she got third place in banking and finance. Rosie Burr, second place in business law, first place in electronic e-portfolio, and first place in future business leader. And Sloan Tipton, Danielle Quintana, and Rosie Burr, first place for our chapter sign, which is awesome because we haven't won first place in chapter sign in a long time. Sadie Kress, first place in client service. Maddie Butler, second place client service. Julian Hernandez, third place in client service. We totally swept client service at the competition. It was just Show Low across the board. Sloan Tipton, first place in e-business. Kellyanna Baldwin, second place in economics, and also first place in sales presentation. Elizabeth Waddell, first place in e-portfolio. Julian Hernandez, first place in entrepreneurship. Chloe Powers, first place in entrepreneurship. Kelsey Kerr, third place in global business. Tommy Kudlach, network design, and Bethany Watts for publication design. And we're coming up to our state competition, which is the beginning of April, and that will be in Tucson, Arizona. We're looking forward to that. Thank you so much.
So good luck on your state, and come back and see us with all the medals, please. Okay?
Come down through so we
Yeah,
can shake hands.
Should we go down, or can they come?
Either way.
If you guys will file by, we just want to say hi and.
Thanks for coming. I'll see. Thank you.
Well, do that again in Tucson, would you?
Congratulations. Congratulations.
You're awesome. Good job.
Congratulations. Good job.
Good job.
Congratulations. And I always said, Show Low kids, the ones who do are the ones who do everything. So it's just the way it is. Congratulations.
Good job. Congratulations.
And good luck in throwing my chair out, isn't it, yeah?
Oh, so great.
Congratulations. Good luck in state. Good luck.
I think this is so great because these are the kids who are going to be running the businesses in Show Low in the next 10, 20 years. And that's just awesome. Thanks for coming to see us.
Mr. President, if we can give them a round of applause and they can feel free to go if they would like. I just wanted to conclude this section of the agenda, Mr. President, with letting you know that we, for the most part, across the district have wrapped up benchmark testing this week. We begin spring break next week, as you know, and the high school will wrap up their final pieces of benchmarking as they come back from spring break, and then AZ Merit is in April, and a lot of things happening. We got, like Mrs. Goodman said, we have kids all over the place right now with softball and baseball and track and all the activities that they're involved in, and it's really an exciting time around campus. So,
Great. Thank you so much. Item 2.5, future board agenda items. Does anybody have anything that they would like to request to be on a future agenda?
I would like to request like the state champ people to come in so we can congratulate them also for cheer.
thank you. Yeah, we will have them here next month, and as well as our robotics from Linden. They'll be back next month also.
And wrestling, like all those things, that would be really great to have.
Absolutely.
Okay, item 3.1, approval of overnight and out-of-state travel. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, you'll see in your board agenda there, we have a request for Ida Carpenter to take the Show Low Junior High School students for FBLA, the younger version of what we just saw. They'll be going to Weston La Paloma in Tucson, April 4th and 5th for competition. And I would ask that you approve that travel as outlined in your docket.
Okay.
I also have one from
Do
Missy.
we have a high school one too, or we're going to do those
do.
separate?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that together. We also have one for FBLA to travel, as you heard, to Tucson for the state competition. So I'd ask that you approve both of those as outlined.
Make a motion to approve travel requested.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3.2, approval of Show Low High School 2018-19 course description book. Mr. Housley?
Isn't it crazy that we're already to that point in the school year? 18-19 seemed like so far along, but we are at the point where we will be registering students for the upcoming school year and would like to have the board approve the course outline for the high school for next year, and that's in front of you. So I would ask that you approve it as outlined.
I motion for the approval of the Show Low High School 2018-19 course description book as presented.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions?
I have a question. I just, when I read through this, it's a lot to read through. Are there some highlights of any major changes that we should be aware of as we look to approve this?
No major changes in this schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 3.3, approval to modify school day at the high school on April 4th, 2018 to accommodate testing. Mr. Housley.
This is something that I know we would love to do when we're doing calendaring and setting the calendar, but it's just not feasible because we don't know all the time when the testing windows are going to be. The Ames science test at the high school has a 3-hour test window requirement, but not all students have to do that. To be able to accommodate that, we need to modify and have some students come in a little bit later on that day, and that's what this request is. So he's asking that on April 4th for Science Ames testing, that the senior U.S. Constitution testing, that all freshmen enrolled in biology and all sophomores, unless they had biology as a freshman, are to arrive at school at 8 at the normal time. All seniors who have not passed the U.S. Constitution will also arrive at 8. Everyone else, normal classes will resume at 10:15 on those days. So I would ask that you would approve the modification to that schedule to accommodate for these testing requirements by the state.
I'll move that we approve the modified school day at the high school on April 4th to accommodate testing.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion, second. Any further discussion?
Will there be a modified bus route that day as well?
I believe so. I will double check and send that out in an email to you. We'll make sure that that's communicated to the parents also. But I believe it will accommodate those students who would have to come in later.
Okay.
Anything further? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 4.1, approval of resignations. Mr. Housley.
We have a few resignations to, for your approval this evening. Let me see if I can see those real quick. Sorry about that. We have some resignations. Brandy Block, a junior high school science teacher. Jessica Connor, Linden PE teacher. Julie Farnsworth, 4th grade at Linden. Tanner Fawcett, high school English. Jody Flake, the junior high drama teacher. Michael Hopp, the bus driver. Jackie Johnson, high school art teacher. Donna Julian, speech and language pathologist. Roseanne Lortzen, Nicholas Homestead, 4th grade. Linda Lopman is the CTE director at the high school. Leslie Overson, Nicholas Homestead, 4th grade teacher. Katie Snell, Whipple Ranch. Andrea Price is the high school teacher assistant, and LaDon Wilcock as a Nicholas Homestead teacher assistant. All of these, with the exception of one or two, are end of the year resignations, and so I would ask that you would approve those at this time.
Quick question is Tanner Fawcett is just resigning the department chair, correct?
Yes.
We're not
just the-
losing him.
No, just the department chair. Sorry,
Okay.
thank you for the clarification.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. I was going to talk to him. We were. Just wanted to make sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignations, but in doing so, I wish that Mrs. Lopman would have stayed. I know she was here earlier with the CTE folks. That's a person that's been in our district, I want to say, over 40 years, and is proud that, or glad that she's able to go on and retire and enjoy her retirement, as Ruben and I have, but that's a huge loss to our district, someone who's been there for over 40 years. That is right, isn't it? Hasn't she been here over 40 years?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
Kids.
It's a lot of kids, yeah.
A
She's.
lot of influence.
Yeah, and so I will make a motion to accept these, but with that sad point that, happy for her, but sad for us that we're losing an experienced teacher like her.
Second the motion.
I have a motion, a second. Anything else?
Yeah, aren't there others that are retiring too, like Leslie Overson and Mrs. Lauritsen? It might be nice to, just because,
Recognize some of them?
yeah, my kids have had them as teachers as well, and they have put in a lot of time to the district. So I'm so grateful, like, from the bottom of my heart for these people and the impact they've made on me and my family, and I know on so many other people and children in the district.
Good point.
We will recognize those that are retiring, correct? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. I'd just like to point out one reason why we see the resignations at this point is we have kind of encouraged, if they knew that they were going to retire or leave, to let us know early so that we can begin the hiring process, so we can get out in front of not hiring in June or July, which are typically real difficult to hire months in. To benefit the district and themselves, they've given notification. We appreciate that.
Absolutely, yes. Always better to get those new hires spring instead of summer.
Moving on to 4.2, approval of new hires.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we look at our new hires, I would ask that you approve the following new hires. As a bus driver, Agnes Hanna, a 6-hour position. Susan Magadino, Whipple Ranch Secretary. That's pending her fingerprint clearance. And then Scott Ricker as a substitute bus driver, retroactive to 2/21. So I would ask that you would approve those new hires as outlined.
I'll motion the approval of new hires as outlined.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 4.3, approval of certified and classified substitutes. Mr. Hauser.
Sorry, Mr. President.
It's okay, I think we're all getting used to this.
Just getting used to these. Okay. The problem is my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. Okay, as a certified substitute, I'm sorry, Frank Caltabino, I'm sorry.
Biano?
Yes. K-12 substitute Stephanie Gilliand and also Teresa Keel. We also have as a classified substitute Lisa McGowan and Shamlong Howlett for food service. I would ask that you would approve those as outlined.
I'll make a motion for the approval of classified and, classified and certified substitutes.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 4.4, approval of stipends and volunteers. Mr. Housley.
And Mr. President, we have a few of our stipends. We've began our spring sports, and so those would reflect also with the high school drama. We have a stipend for Miss Cynthia Whipple, also for high school golf, a golf assistant Micah Davis, and then our volunteers for high school track. We have Christopher Emoto, pole vault coach, assistant there, and also as a volunteer, high school soccer, John or Jack O'Brien as an assistant volunteer coach. I ask that you would approve those volunteers as outlined and stipends.
A motion for the approval of stipends and volunteers as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 5.1, approval of a first reading for policy advisories 602-615.
So typically at this time of year, we see policy advisories come out as legislation approves legislation, and then it reflects out into policy. And so that's what we're seeing here. Just some points. This is a first reading, so it's not, we're just approving that first review. Some pieces that would probably we want to pay attention to. Policy number 602, the change to that was just making sure that as employees leave that we compensate them for everything that we owe them within 10 days. That's a change in timeframes. Policy 604 through 605, that's going to talk about professional leave and donating of leave. There's some specific language in there that we'll need to look at because it does require now, if you're going to request someone donate leave, there has to be a specific doctor's notification that says that you need that to happen. So that's going to play out in that policy. And then you go down to 609. It just changes some labeling on how a special needs student is labeled, and then what should be reported out in the report cards. Also, 612, there was a reference to foster care student placement. That was omitted from 612, but then in 613, it's the whole policy on just foster care students, and how we should accommodate them as if they were in our district and then ended up being in foster care that pulled them out of our district, and how that looks in bringing them back to our district or allowing them to have that option. Okay, and then policy advisory 613, that's what that is. That's that piece. And then the other ones are just some clarifications, a little bit of word changes, but not a big deal. So I would ask that you would approve the first reading of those policy advisories as outlined.
I'll move we approve a first reading of the policy advisory 602 to 615.
I'll I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 6.1, approval of 2018-19 Navajo County Special Services Consortium Membership Agreement. Mr. Housley.
So every year we participate in a special services consortium. Special services can be pretty expensive to provide, so we partner with a consortium which disperses the costs so that those, for instance, a speech pathologist might be inside that consortium and we might tap into them to provide some services for them. This is the agreement that we signed to participate in that on an annual basis, and I would ask that we continue to participate and approve this agreement as outlined.
I'll move we approve this Navajo County Special Services Consortium membership agreement for 2018-19.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 6.2, approval of a letter of declaration authorizing district to maintain a line of credit with Wells Fargo through Navajo County Treasurer's Office. Mr. Housley.
We'll pass this on to Mr.
Yeah,
Schubert.
Mr. Schubert, sorry, I should have known that.
That's fine. Every year, we sign a letter of declaration so that we can maintain our line of credit with Wells Fargo. Unfortunately, that has not shown up yet, so I would ask that you would just table this to the next meeting, and once we get it by then, we should be able to go ahead and get you guys to approve it.
Okay.
Do we have to move to table it? So do I say I move to table that to the next meeting?
Please.
Okay, I move to table that to the next meeting.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 6.3, district spending report. Mr. Schubel.
So recently, the Auditor General's Office released their district spending report, and I just wanted to kind of give you some high-level overviews of that report. According to the Auditor General's Office, we spent 58.5% of our monies in the education, in the instructional realm, which is what we would call, coding to fund, to 1,000. But if you add in the instructional report support and the instructional support, that adds another 11.7%. So we spent just over 70% of our funds were dedicated strictly to the instruction of students. So I think that came out really well. If we look at our cost per pupil, in far as administration is concerned, we spent $653 per student. The peer average, we're weighted against 14 other districts against this, and they're not just local districts, they're districts that are our size throughout the state. So one of them being Lake Havasu. We go up against Lake Havasu as part of these. But if you take our peer average, they spent $844 per student, and the state average for that was $844. So we're almost $200 per student less than our peers, and then the state average.
Is this going to be on our website so people can view it?
We will put it up there onto the website. It's also on the
cool graphs and stuff.
Oh, you gotta love graphs. But it's also on the Auditor General's website as well. So yeah, but we'll get a copy of this put onto our website. It should. I think it should already be up there.
Okay.
If you look at our plant operations, this is what it costs us to operate our facilities. We came in at $4.52 per square foot, whereas the peers came in at $5.36, and our state average was $6.30. So that's a big, congratulations to our maintenance crews being able to keep things the way that they are, and us able to operate in a financially sound way. Our food service, right now, our cost per meal is high. We spent an average of $3.60 per plate, where our peers spent $3 and the state average was $2.88. So that's one of the things that we're going to be digging into to figure out why our food service costs per plate was so high. And our transportation costs, if we break it down by mile, it was $2.73 or $976 per rider. The peer average was $2.95 per mile and $1,037 per rider, as well as the state average being $3.84 per mile, and the cost per rider at almost $1,200. So our transportation department is running rather efficiently as well. Some student measures that I'd like to point out. Our district, our graduation rate was at 92%. It's a slight dip from the previous year. Our peer and state average was at 94%. But if they look at our 2016 rates, our graduation rate in 2016 was only 81%. So we are seeing improvements. Our student per teacher, we're at 18 students per teacher, whereas our peers are at 16.4. And the state average is at 18.5. So we're right there in line with what the state average is as far as our student per to teacher ratio. So that's another great piece. Percentage of teachers in the first 3 years. We have 21% of our teachers are within their first 3 years of teaching. If you look at our peers and the state average, the peer average is at 17% and our state average is at 19%. So we're close to the state average, but a little higher than our peers. What else did I want to cover on this? That's really about all I wanted to cover on that. If you have any questions about the report, please feel free to let me know. That goes out to the public as well. If you have any questions on the report, I am more than welcome to answer any questions that anybody has.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. 6.4, bond update. Mr. Schubert.
So for the bond update, we have recently received a report from some electrical engineers. And I will just kind of sum it up for you the easiest way I know how. We have an electrical problem at the junior high. Something that we didn't think that we knew already, but it just kind of confirmed it. So we are looking into what we need to do to increase the availability of power for the junior high. So, and pieces of this will include, possibly having to rework our I'm not an electrician, okay? And they used a lot of big words in the report. But it's redoing our power boxes, redoing whatever those things are that go in, like circuits, breakers. So there's a lot of that's going to have to happen. So we just recently I got the report yesterday. So that's really where we're at with the bond. I believe we've uploaded pictures of the buses being built to I believe they're on the website.
On the Facebook page.
They're on the Facebook page. So our buses are being built. My favorite picture is the guy in yellow paint. He's just covered in yellow paint. But that's really where we're at right now with the bonds. We've talked with our consultant and we put together some planning as far as getting projects up and running. We've looked into a lot of projects for updating the school security. Some of these projects will include walling in vestibule, just securing the vestibules. Other projects may include actually moving offices and entrances to buildings. So those are all things that we're currently looking at.
Mr. President, I just want to report out too that we're in a stage right now where we have different agencies coming in and providing these evaluations of our system so that we know where to get the most bang for our buck. And those take some time. So that's been the space in February and first part of March. We should be getting those reports back at the end of March. The Bond Oversight Committee has met one time to review some of those processes, and we'll meet again on the 20th of March at the district office. And at that time, we'll review some of the reports that are coming back. We'll review some of the safety things. I know with the concern on people's minds is how are we addressing safety? That was number one on our priority list, as you remember, when we put out our bond documents, safety and security. And we're going to look heavily into what those are. Our consultants with FMG Group have pulled together some of those things. They've looked at our buildings and kind of started to formulate a plan. and we'll look forward to sharing that plan with the Oversight Committee on the 20th and have them help us continue to set priorities as we move forward. It looks like we'll probably end up selling the bonds in April. One thing that we're waiting for is for that audit to get done so we could get our credit rating reestablished, which is something that that they said we needed to do. And so our consultant is waiting for that to be done, and then we'll be prepared to sell bonds. And then we can start purchasing things and moving projects forward. So that's kind of the plan as we move forward.
All right.
I have a
Thank
question. On the projects, Mr. Housley, when these go out to bid, are we focusing on inviting contractors from our area primarily?
Yeah.
Or are we going to reach outside?
Well, all the contractors, local and local workforce will have the availability. We've shared with them that we want them, similar to what they did in Blue Ridge. Our consultant helped consult on those projects, and they brought in local contractors and let them know what the scope of the project is. You know, some have bonding and insurance capacity to do the size of some of the projects. Some of them don't have enough to do the larger projects, and so we'll try to help inform them of what those projects are as they're laid out, so they'll have the ability to bid on them and participate in that process.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 7.1, ratification of expense vouchers.
Yes, sir. In your packet, you have all of our expense vouchers for the previous month. We just asked for your approval on those expense vouchers.
Make a motion to approve expense vouchers as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. I thought a consent agenda was the whole section. Is it just item by item?
This is new,
Okay.
so we're working on it.
Oh, I didn't know.
There's no way I can actually put it all under just one, but yes, you can do the consent agenda and just go 7.1 through 7.5.
Okay.
You can review that all at one time.
All at once and then just
approve it all at
approve.
one time. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't give me the ability to do it like differently, so. I'll keep working with it.
Okay.
Cover them all, Mr. Sheets.
Okay, so do we want to run these each?
So
or do you
we'll
wanna go over
continue
the
to
whole
run
thing?
through them.
Okay.
So in addition to our expense vouchers, we'd like you to approve our ratification of our payroll vouchers, our junior high and high school activities, revenues, and expenditures, approval of the governing board minutes for the regular meeting on January 11th and the regular board meeting on February 8th. And we'd also like your approval on the following donations. Melissa Nelson and Jason and Tommy Nelson gave a $15,000 donation to the Sholo High School golf team. Is that the only one? And that's our donations. So we asked for your approvals for these tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda 7.2 through 7.5.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, thank
Who
you.
are the
Thank you to the Nelsons, yeah.
The Nelsons.
Do we know who the Nelsons are?
Mr. Nicholas, do you know?
That's Dave Nelson, he used to sub for us, and
Oh, right, Dave. Yeah, okay.
he passed away, and
Yes, okay.
these kids inherited some money, and they want to give back to the golf program.
Wonderful.
Bless their hearts.
Amazing.
Rest in peace, Dave, yeah.
Would you express to them our appreciation? Are you the contact there on that? Would you please do that? Thank you. Thank you very much. So we've got a motion and a second, right? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 8.1, adjournment. I will entertain a motion.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all very much for coming this evening, and please be safe.